Hey there, this is Zach. So this is the Google AdWords walkthrough, and if you're finding me through YouTube or somewhere else, I just want to let you know that this is officially part of a training series. It's marketing for small business owners and artists because I've known a lot of them who find uh, advertising and marketing to be pretty intimidating and uh, are really nervous about getting started, and it is such a powerful tool. It makes a huge difference in businesses, so I really want to just give you the tools to actually get started on your first campaign. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, and also that training series, for the record, is completely free through my mailing list. I'll include a link at the bottom. Right, so so honestly, to get to Google AdWords, you just Google AdWords. It'll should be the very first one coming up. Okay, and then if you already have an account, you can sign in, but I'm doing this as if I'm just started brand new. So we're going to say start now. Right, now here is where you put in your email address, and that's where you put in your website. Then you'll be creating a Google account if you don't already have one. And here we've got the personal tips and recommendations. You can decide whether or not you want them. And I think it's probably worth signing up for it. Also, before we get into this too much, I want to let you know Google has a Google AdWords Academy, and it is completely free. It's online. There it is, Google's Academy for Ads, and you can learn more about how to use AdWords. So if this is something that's you want to use more of, definitely check that out. Again, the training is completely free. Okay, let's just type that back in. I'm just gonna say yes because why not? Alright, so on the next page you would set up a Google account if you don't already have one, or just log into your Google account if you do. For security purposes, I did not show you me putting in my personal information. Alright, so now this is what you will come up to once you're logged in, and you get to pick a goal for your ad, and these are just three really basic ones to start out with. They're not the only ones Google options by any chance. It's just kind of like the ones that in their experience they think come up most. So if you have a physical location, you want to pick this one to get people to actually go and visit your store. If you take client bookings online, you'd want to choose Call Your Business. Then take an action on your website, of course. The take an action on your website is nice because see, a trackable action, Google can actually gives you a code that you can put on your website, so it can tell when people click a certain link or sign up for your mailing list or even buy something, and so that way it'll let you track whether or not people are actually doing what you want to on your site. Whereas with the storefront and phone, you don't always know for sure did they come from Google or not. All right, so we're just going to pick the ads website one just because. And again, if you saw the Facebook one, you can target pretty much wherever you want. No, like I could target, okay, I accidentally clicked US Virgin Islands. So I can, of course, target the US Virgin Islands. Didn't mean to say that, and say United States. No, I can also target, I think there's pretty much wherever you want, like as many as you want, so just gonna throw a few out there, just to give you an idea of the scale you can get with this, or the potential audience size and distribution. Okay, so it's only letting me put 3 in. That's good to know. But I mean, that's a pretty broad, spread out audience. 344 million people per month could potentially see this ad. If you have a physical business, you can also say near my business, put in your address and decide the scope. Again, it all depends on what your business is, what kind of customers you want, how your customers interact with you, what your goal is for the ad. Okay, oh, sugar. Okay, so because I picked Japan first, it's only letting me do it in Japanese, which I don't speak. So let's fix that. All right, English. And you can also pick Spanish, and I imagine that there's other languages you can pick. Because I only speak English, I've never had to try it. That's something to look up if you do have a different range. And as you just saw, it'll depend on what country you're advertising to. So if you're advertising to Germany, you'll have the option of German, and so on. Okay, business category. Honestly, I found this a tiny bit frustrating given what my thing personally is, but here's just kind of a bunch of different things. You know, it gives a pretty good range of options. You know, like freaking quarry, quilt shop, and that's Quebecy restaurant. Okay. So yeah, like there are a lot of different options here. So pretty much whatever your business is, you can find something. I'm just gonna say nightclub for the hell of it. Like I said, this is not a realistic thing, and now it's showing you how many people are interested in and searching nightclubs. So you can see that the audience size now, it went from like several hundred million down to 640,000. Whereas and also, I don't know, sorry, I shouldn't have. If you saw that, it gives you other suggestions, like maybe nightclub isn't the best description, maybe it's actually a piano bar or a live music venue. You know, so you've got a couple of different, it suggests a couple of different categories that might do better. And let's actually see what happens when we change it from nightclub to gym. Okay, and now, there we go. So 6 million people potentially searching that, so, right, and enter product or service. Let's just say gym equipment. Like I said, this is just for fun, basically. Okay, now it's going to show us again. Okay, did not impact that at all. Alright, we're just going to pretend we're putting up an ad for gym equipment. Okay, and it gives advice. Like, see, it just came up with this sample ad based on the fact that I'm a gym, and it's even saying things like, you know, personal and group training, nutrition consultation, call today, which is telling people, like, call to action is something that tells people exactly what you want them to do, and definitely use those in your advertising. Honestly, people appreciate it when you're being clear, okay? If you're being like respectful and honest in your marketing, then you're not being underhanded, you're not being bossy, you're being clear, okay? You're making things easier on people, all right? You're not leaving people saying they're trying to decide, okay, do I send them an email? Do I call them? Do I have to go in person? You know, how do they best deal with people? It says call today, and people are like, oh, okay, so if I call someone, that's the best way to get in touch with them. And that's great. And so again, we are pretending to be selling gym equipment, so like this, I don't sell gym equipment, so this is completely made up. And definitely spend more time on creating your ad than I will be here. Okay, so now, the heck? Like I said, just making this up on the spot. I'm not suggesting this is actually how you write your ads. I gave advice on writing ads in this training series, and of course there are so many resources out there. Headlines are actually something that give me trouble, so I look up advice on how to write better headlines, because I know that's an area that I struggle with. So if there's an area that you know you're not really great at, there's so many resources out there. It's definitely worth looking a few things up, you know, spending even like half an hour reading a couple of different articles, or even go to the library and get some books there. I use my library a lot. Like, it's an amazing resource. Support your local library. Okay, amazing gym equipment. Okay, and then, so you just saw, here's where I wrote it, here's there. And now, sometimes your ad will show the two headlines separated by a line, and sometimes it'll be, like one line on top of the other. So just do kind of keep that in mind. It depends on how it's displaying. Okay, but there we go. So we've got the first headline, and then kind of a little more specific, and then we've got the website address, and now we're going to put in a description. And down there, it'll show you how many characters you have left, because this is specifically, it's called a search network ad, so this is where your ad shows up in Google search itself. So, like, in this case, I could say whenever people look up the keyword gym equipment, my ad will show up to them, so it gets right in front of people who are actively looking to buy the product right now. So that's one thing that's really nice about Google Ads. And again, I am just making this up on the spot as someone who does not own or sell gym equipment. So, I'm just making this up, okay? This is not a good ad. Do not copy this ad. Yeah, I'm just making this up. Okay, like I said, do not copy this ad. All right, now you can decide where exactly your ad will go to. So if I have it there, then it's going to go to my main page. I'm just going to, this is not an actual page, but I'm going to pretend I have a /gym equipment, where I actually, so if you have a specific page on your website that sells gym equipment, then you're going to want to direct them straight to that page. You don't want to go to the main page and have them have to click through and be like, hey, wait, where's the gym equipment? Okay, you want to put them right in front of the actual category by gym equipment now, because that is what people are looking for. And as Google can tell that is not a real ad, a real website, so we're just gonna use that. There we go. Okay, and now you can add images, and you can either upload your own or you can use stock images. And as you can see, this is not what Google brings up every time you make an ad. Okay, it knows that I am specifically selling gym equipment, so it's showing this stuff. It's showing people using gym equipment, which is really nice. Alright, so I could just pick that guy, and pick that, these are all actual, someone using gym equipment. And as I talked about on the Facebook, the stock images are nice if you are just getting started and you don't have the best camera and you can't afford a professional photographer. You can still create professional looking ads. And don't feel bad about using stock images, because honestly, like, the professionals use stock images as well. Like the big companies and that, they absolutely use stock images. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It is not dishonest. Like, use common sense, okay? Don't completely misrepresent yourself. Like, if I was actually selling gym equipment and I didn't sell these kind of weights and I put this up, that would be pretty silly because it would waste people's time. It misrepresents what I'm selling, so you use your head. But yeah, stock images are pretty great, and it makes it really easy for someone who's just getting started and doesn't have the budget for a professional photographer or photo editing or any of that to actually make a very professional looking ad. Okay, and here's an example of what your ad will look like. And here's, it's going to show a couple different variations of it. So you can see we have, we put in the two headlines and the description, and so, as I said, how that shows up depends on the actual ad format. So here's a couple of different ways, and Yep, just all of those are generated by Google, so they'll show up a little bit differently to each person. And which is actually nice because it lets you see different ways. Let's just leave it on your own right now. All right, so this is honestly I don't know why it gave me this particular budget. Oh, I see, typical but competitor budget range. So that's really handy because it lets you know where you sit. Like if so that way, like you don't have to bring your budget way up there to be competitive. However, if your budget is way down there, then you're a lot lower than your competitors. Because which ad shows up, budget is a factor. So if you have a slightly higher budget, your ad will show up more often, but of course you'll pay a bit more. If you spend even like $5 a day, you could, with this particular ad, and always kind of pay attention, you could potentially get a couple 500 to 1,000 views a month and 80 to 140 clicks a month. So if you actually were like a small local gym, or if you're just getting started, I mean, that can have a pretty nice impact on your business. You know, it's not a huge thing. This isn't gonna like make you rich overnight, but $5 a day, it is a bit much for some people, but it's, you know, it's relatively very small investment, and you can get some results. And if you have a much smaller budget, like you could only put in okay, so apparently it won't let me do that. So if you can only put in like $150 a day, what? No. Always make sure that you've got the budget right, and you know, you don't accidentally set up a €20 campaign when you only want a €1 campaign. Okay, so that's only $150 a day. You know, the cliche, less than a cup of coffee. And you're still getting some views, you're still getting some clicks. You know, you're still getting a little bit of results. It's, yeah, again, it won't make you rich, but you not only are you getting the clicks, but you'll also be able to see a bit more insight about what keywords people are using to search. You'll also see which ads, how people respond to them. It's called click-through rate, and that tells you, like, out of every 100 people who saw this ad, how many clicked on it. And if one of those designs had a really high rate and one had a really low rate, then you know what your customers are responding to. Alright, so now we're going to review our ad settings, review your goal, review the location. We're just reviewing everything right here, and go on to next. Okay, and also, it says monthly maximum, but you can set the ad as long as you want or as short as you want. You don't have to have it up forever. Alright, and so now we're on payment information, and so that's where we're done for the day. Right. You know, I'm not going to actually run that ad, and I'm certainly not putting my payment information where you can see it. So I really hope that was helpful for you. Again, I'm not going super in depth because I really want to keep this as simple as possible. For anyone who knows that advertising is really going to be valuable for your business but finds it intimidating, I really hope that actually seeing the exact steps and kind of talking through it a little bit, it takes some of the mystery out of it. You can absolutely right now open a new tab, go to Google, adwords.google.com, and start doing this yourself. And again, if you are finding me through YouTube, this is part of the longer marketing series where I give more specific advice about how to do marketing effectively, how to identify who your customers are, how to word the ad, stuff like that. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I'm going to include the link in the bottom to sign up for that mailing list so you can get on that marketing series. Once again, it is completely free. And also, I do want to give a shout out. I am offering a course for artists who want to learn how to make make money from their work, make a living specifically. The goal is really to teach you what the tools you need so that you can consistently make $3 to $6 grand a month, which is a completely achievable goal. And also, that is not like the upper end. It's my goal is really to help people reach that level, so that if that is all you want in life, hey, that is freaking awesome. Power to you. But if you do decide that you want to grow, once you're at that level of consistent income, comfortably middle class income, then you can start looking into investing in yourself a little bit more. And the course is also going to teach you basic business ideas and how they can apply to artists, so that way you can go into a proper business course if you want to, or buy business books, and you'll understand what they're talking about and how it applies to you and what parts don't necessarily apply to you. Because in my experience, a lot of business courses, they're jargon heavy. They can be really confusing for artists, and I've seen a couple of business instructors like explicitly say that business stuff doesn't really work for artists, which of course kind of screws up your ability to get any value from the class if the freaking teacher is sitting there saying, yeah, this class isn't going to work for you. So yeah, that is the Prospering Artist course, and the goal of it is to help get rid of the starving artist stereotype, help all artists who are just called to make their living off their work, learn how they can actually do it, because it is totally, totally, totally reasonable to believe that you can do it, because it is absolutely an achievable goal. And so yeah, if that's something you're interested in, or if you know an artist who could use it, the link's going to be in the comments. Please pass that on to them. And that is my spiel for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope that you've gotten some value out of that. All right.